And tell an original story based on personal experience. Time requested, 8 to 10 minutes. Please give the green at 8, orange at 9, and the red at 10. The speaker will be evaluated by Luis Velez. Let's give a nice warm welcome to the tall speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, distinguished incoming division director, area governor, fellow distinguished Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. How many of you worry? My mother used to worry a lot. As a matter of fact, my brother and I used to kid her that there was nothing to worry about. She'd worry about not having anything to worry about. And the interesting thing about this is that almost all the things you worry about never really happen. So why worry? But it gets a little more extreme, because if we take it to the next level, we can talk about being scared or frightened. And I think almost everybody has gone through one of those experiences, maybe a number of those experiences, where you were really scared. I remember the time I was coming home from work. It was February 1978, and I was living just north of New York City. I was coming home on the Hutchinson River Parkway. It had snowed a lot. The snow was piled up along the sides of the road, but the roads were clear. And I came over the bridge, over the Hutchinson River, and suddenly, nothing but ice. And I couldn't stop in time or slow down enough before I hit the ice, and the car started to spin around and around and around, and then suddenly straightened out finally, but it was aiming for the railing. The snow was piled high, and I figured, okay, the car's going to go into the snowbank. I wasn't worried. I wasn't scared. And then all of a sudden I realized the car was going up over the snowbank. And now I really had a problem, because I didn't know if I was going to go into the river with the car or I was going to go on land, which really scared me. I figured with the river I had a chance, so I cranked down the window, and it turns out at the last minute, the snow gave way, the bumper of the car, we had bumpers in those days, not like today, hit the top of the railing, bounced me back into the roadway the wrong way, and I watched all those cars coming toward me, and everyone going into a skid. I have to admit I was a little bit shaken, and I was scared a little bit. But even beyond being scared, there's something called panic. Panic is really a very serious subject. You've all heard, I'm sure, about a deer being in your headlights and not being able to move, frozen, because that's what panic does to you. It gets such a tense feeling that you don't know what to do, and you just freeze. Fortunately for me, when I was scuba diving and working toward my master's certificate, we had to take a course called rescue diving. And the very first classroom session dealt with panic, because most diving accidents happen when people panic. And it's really very simple. Stop, breathe, think, act. A simple mantra. 4 simple words. Stop, breathe, think, act. As it turns out, A few weeks after that particular session, I had the opportunity to go dive on the wreck of the Almirante, which is about 4 miles off of the shore, out past Elliott Key. This is supposed to be a great wreck dive, and it's too far out, actually, to make a normal dive, so it's a 3-dive day rather than a 2-dive day. And I was eagerly looking forward to it. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous sunny day, a nice light breeze, and we finally got there and we anchored on the wreck. Now, when you anchor on a wreck, the line goes from the bow of the boat down to the wreck, and about 10 feet underwater is another line which is attached, running back to the stern or rear end of the boat. That's called a safety line, because typically when you get in the water, you go off the stern or back of the boat. So I went off first, and I hung onto that line, the pretty good current running, and my wife handed me my camera. Now, the camera is not just a little camera, or like a cell phone we have today. It's a long steel bar. It has a camera mounted on one side, it has a strobe on the other side, and weighs about 15 pounds. In addition to that 15 pounds, you have the tank on your back, you have all the other gadgetry that goes with it, including a 2-pound console, which contains a computer and a depth gauge and a pressure gauge, so you know where you're at. So you're pretty well encumbered with all this equipment, and now I'm hanging on to this camera too. And then before I go in underneath the water, she says, wait, take my camera too. So she handed me her camera, so now I'm holding 2 cameras. And I'm kind of weighted down, but I managed to get on that safety line to pull myself forward, because I want to reach the anchor line to go down the anchor line right down to the deck of the wreck. Well, I got about halfway up that line, and I'm weighted down with these 2 cameras, and the current is getting stronger and stronger, and I suddenly have to go like this because my mask is being whipped off by the current. And you want to talk about panic. I'm holding now about $4,000 worth of equipment. I'm trying to save myself from being swept away by the current. And I just, for the first time in my life, I really felt panic. I just didn't know what to do. And then I remembered the lesson. I wrapped my arm around that cord and stopped. I took a big, deep breath, and I thought about what I was going to do. And sure enough, there's a safety strap on each camera. I got them both around my wrist. One hand to hold the mask on, the other one to pull myself forward until I reached the anchor line, got down about 10 feet, and just waited there for my wife to catch up to me, and everything was calm down. Panic, scared, you name it. It's not a question of worry. It's not a question of being scared. Panic is a killer. So anytime at all you get into a situation where you get that feeling and you don't know what to do, the answer is very simple. Stop, breathe, think, and then act.
Thank you, Paul. Please give some feedback to Paul. I'll give you 1 minute.